Hello, LA301 students. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on this first video going over your second writing assignment. A few things that I want to cover, touching on briefly on chapter 2, which is related to summarizing, since you're being asked to summarize the work of either Paulin or Cullington. Note the page numbers on the screen here. I wanted to just refresh your memory with chapter 2 is all about the art of summarizing, and that really teaches you how to write an extended version of what they say. So going back to that they say that we started talking about in the beginning of the class, I want you to focus on this a little bit. You all did a very nice job of this, but one of the things I want you to try to do a little bit different this time is incorporate more of your voice into it. So if you notice here, you're going to be referencing chapter 5. And I mentioned this during the faculty appointments several times because chapter 5 is the chapter that kind of has those templates for using the first person in your writing. So I think that's really, really important to reference back to chapter 5 and being able to insert your own voice. Because remember, this writing, especially with this second writing assignment, really want you to do a few things. Summarize nicely the work of either Cullington or Paulin, which means that you're going to have to fully understand their arguments, and you're going to have to be able to formulate your opinion on those. And note here that you're being asked to agree with some aspects of the argument and disagree with others. Okay? So your thesis can be built around this agreeing and or disagreeing with what the author's saying. So I think that's really important here. So again, circle back. You're going to be incorporating some of the tactics from chapter 2 to summarize, which, by the way, you all did very nicely with this first writing assignment. So go back to that again and try to incorporate one or more of the templates from chapter 2. And again, that's the art of summarizing. And then you're going to focus on chapter 5 to use some of those templates to insert your own voice into this. Okay. So then just to kind of briefly touch on what is going on with Cullington in her Does Texting Affect Writing? She's really trying to kind of present different viewpoints on whether or not texting affects writing, in addition to her own field research that she did. Okay, so here she's incorporating the work of others and incorporating the results from her own research that she did. So when you read through this, make sure that you're getting that out of this and understanding what were the outcomes of her research. Okay? So in a sense, here's an overview. She kind of concludes that texting does not significantly affect student writing. Okay, so again, she concludes that texting does not significantly affect student writing. She kind of begins with a sort of literature review, which is where I know a lot of students get hung up on. She notes that teachers and professors blame the weaknesses of their student writing, including the spelling, punctuation, trouble with expressing emotions, all of those kind of things, on texting. Okay. She also presents her research, research of others who think that texting helps students become better writers and communicators. And then in her own research, she surveyed 7 students, interviewed 2 high school teachers, and analyzed student research papers to see if texting affected student writing beyond anecdotal experience. And so she found that students do not believe text speak, we would be using that term, no doubt, text speak, is appropriate in formal writing assignments. So in other words, she's noting that Cullington does, or the students do, understand the difference between when to use text speak and when not to use text speak. Okay. And then she offers additional research to back up her own observations on this, as well as her own personal experience. Because remember, she was a college student when she wrote this. Okay. So that's all I'll say about Cullington. But just make sure that you understand again that you are to be incorporating a summarization, some views of Cullington that you agree with, others that you would disagree with, formulating your thesis statement based on one or more of those. Okay. Okay, so the next one is Michael Pollan's Escape from the Western Diet. And so in this essay, which he really opens the concluding section of In Defense of Food, it's an Eater's Manifesto, which was published in 2008. He argued that a focus on single nutrients, what he calls nutritionism, impedes an accurate kind of comprehensive understanding of healthy eating, and he believed the only solution to Americans' eating problems, he argued, is to stop eating the Western diet. So first of all, you're probably going to have to give kind of an overview of what is the Western diet. What does that mean? I mean, he clearly indicates what he's talking about when he's referring to the Western diet. My inclination is that we probably all have somewhat different understanding of what the Western diet is. So again, he's arguing that the only solution to the Americans' eating problem, obesity, and the other issues that a Western diet leads to, is to stop eating the Western diet altogether. So completely changing how we eat and our eating habits. Then he goes on discussing, how creating low carbohydrate or low fat foods does nothing to improve the Western diet, and both the food and medical industries benefit from competing scientific theories about nutrition. So he suggests that we avoid processed foods when possible and consider a healthier environment and how that will lead to healthier food options. So there's a lot he says in that. It's kind of general overview there. But he kind of concludes the chapter by reminding readers of his credo. And you'll find this, mentioned a couple times in this passage. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. So that's his credo. So again, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Okay. So again, same if you choose Cullington, if you have an interest in texting and how it affects writing, choose Cullington. Summarize the work, incorporate some agreements and some disagreements. That's one option. The other option is Pollan's piece on the Western diet, and you'll do the same thing. So you'll summarize Pollan's work, again, referencing back to chapter 2, incorporating your own voice into this using chapter 5 techniques and templates. And then you're going to formulate arguments to agree and disagree with either of the authors that you choose. So again, remember the templates again for agreeing and disagreeing. Okay, so stance and a really, really good conclusion that not only kind of concludes summarizing what your paper suggested, but adding an additional component here. And that additional component would be how to focus on concluding your paper with maybe some implications. So if you're looking at pollen, what are the implications? If Americans don't change the Western diet, what are the implications? What does the future hold? Where are we trending? What are some of those kind of big things that we need to be concerned about? Okay, that's just one example. So you're focusing on maybe kind of what the future holds, maybe need for additional research in this particular area. Conclusion is a really good place for either one of those things. Okay, I'm going to be posting office hours in the announcement with this video. I'll be sending out the video link by email, and I'll also be posting it in Canvas. And I'm going to have office hours. The first day office hours, open office hours, will be Tuesday. I'll have open office hours from 10 until noon, Academic Hall 221, and then from 1 until 2. I'll post additional office hours with the next video that I put up on Canvas. That's it.